Under the current timeline, transformation is occurring between this model and the new information-based model of individual sovereignty. As the family unit began the model of authority and domestication of children into society of the tribe, nation, and global civilization, the creation of the instant internet architecture has allowed for a new model of integration to begin to come forth to supplant and add to the old. The process of change ensues first with the crisis of the old, then the installation of the new technologies to engage the participants into new leadership positions. The revolution that occurs can be violent, chaotic, and divisive, or gentle, simple, and unifying. The expectation of this process is that it will be both and concurrent in the transition from the old to the birth to the new. The elements that are creating this process are fully transparent, and the overall perspective of higher intelligence has planned for the fundamental revision of contracts between the young sovereigns and the old authorities. The symbiosis of the conflicting agendas will at first bring about a chaotic soup of alternation that will assemble eventually into an acceptance of the mixing of methodological paradigms to allow the shift of consciousness to engage the adaptation into a fully sentient technology. The desire of humanity to have a proxy of intelligent authority create in lieu of and on behalf of their being continues to be a paradox that objectifies the misdirection of consciousness. It is well understood that at childhood in physical form there is a demand that the family provides sustenance and support until the rites of passage allows the young sovereign the opportunity to become a mature adult. It is well understood as well that a society has a tribal condition that is a precursor for the group to conform to a shared ideology and identity before it can be fully empowered to become a larger nation or race. In the third context, where there is an authority established to rule as a monarch with sole proprietorship over land and rights, there is a loss of identity to the state, which becomes a misdirection. This position is where the self is reduced to chattel and becomes a powerless pawn and victim to the inclinations of a position of authority and a chain of selective authority. The mystification of this position then creates a continuance in a negative spiral out of human independence and creation and distracts the being from the role as creator and becomes a subject. Humanity becomes subject to the abstraction of authority and is further extended through the process of mercantilism, where political authorities closed in doctrine, religious, philosophical, and political become disassociated with principles and corrupt the nature of sovereign divine creation with artificial and fictitious entities. The creation of these entities that are built up as states, governments, corporations, institutions, religions are all abstractions of personal power and become infused with bureaucratic power centers where corruption feeds. The corruption produces ideological agendas designed to promote the consumption of sovereignty through the further promulgation of the entity being soulless, fictitious, and disharmonious with the creators, becomes a parasite and seeks to gain sentience. Sentience in itself cannot be achieved, and so the process of this thought form creation becomes entirely adversarial to the light stream of the being and the source. The creators have, through their absence, allowed for the abstraction of the contrasting force that is installed like a virus to attack the weakness within the creative system. The creative virus that is based upon the vacuum of creation due to the ignorance and the unwillingness of the creators to flow and move with the stream of creation are consumed by the subconsciously created parasite that works without sentience to destruct the blocks to the stream that have been created by reluctance to create. This abstracted virus was installed as a benefit to provide an opposing energy that would instigate a revolution of consciousness demanded by humanity. The critical point of mass conversion is the point where the pain of reluctance to create is faced by a significant number of minds. The moving forth within the stream that humanity has created is thus a natural process of creation, whereas the limitations set upon creation and blockages to growth are unnatural. The law of change requires that vibration exist between the poles of opposites and move from potential to actual. When there is a lack of movement due to a block where the stream of creation is not moving, a disease is created to catalyze the process and force the issue. The point of awakening is when the holding back becomes more painful than going forth. The fear of going forth is due to the experience of being blocked in a previous expansion. The truth is, there are steps that allow all creation to rise, and there is a level of critical mass that needs to be reached so that the flow of the stream may remain unhindered and uninhibited. The free flow of the stream occurs when the steps are released and the process becomes level and in harmony with the larger perspective of creation. You are awakening to oneness, and in oneness the stream moves into the ocean.